Virginia, 1702. The fog had barely lifted when she spoke the words that would unravel everything he had inherited. 4 words. Quiet, forbidden. They landed soft against the morning air, but they shattered something ancient inside him. He was the master of Harrow Land. She was meant to be silent. Yet her voice reached him in a place no command had ever touched. What followed would cost him his name, his blood, his certainty, and awaken something far more dangerous than desire. If this story has already taken hold of you, subscribe now and tell me where you're watching from. Fog clung to Harrow Land at dawn. Elias stood on the porch, watching figures move through gray light toward the fields. His boots were polished, his coat was pressed, everything in its place. "The fencing by the south pasture needs checking," Samuel said behind him. 2 posts rotted through. "I'll send men this afternoon," Elias said. "Send the new ones. Let them earn their keep." Elias felt uneasy. His brother's voice carried an edge he had grown too familiar with. Samuel wanted something. He always wanted something. In the yard below, a woman carried water toward the main house. Her steps were measured. Her back was straight. Amara. She had arrived 3 months prior from the Whitby estate. Elias had noticed her silence first, then her steadiness. "That one," Samuel said. "She watches too much." "She works," Elias said. "She thinks, that's worse." Elias did not answer. He watched Amara set the buckets down. She did not look up. Her hands were quick. Her jaw was set. Something in her stillness unsettled him. "You're too soft," Samuel said. "Father would have—" "Father is dead." The words hung between them. Samuel's expression tightened. He stepped off the porch without reply. Elias remained. The fog began to lift. Workers scattered across the property. Orders were called. Tools struck earth. The rhythm of Harrow Land resumed. Amara returned for more water. This time she glanced toward the house. Her eyes found his for one breath. Then she looked away. Elias felt something shift in his chest. He did not name it. He turned and walked inside. The morning passed in ledgers and letters. Samuel returned at noon with dust on his boots and frustration in his stance. "One of the field hands dropped a harness," he said. "Broke the strap. Replace it. He should be punished. They grow careless." Elias set down his pen. "A broken strap is not defiance. Everything is defiance if you let it be." Samuel left. Elias stared at the page before him. Numbers, harvests, profits, the architecture of his inheritance. Outside, a voice rose. Samuel's voice, demanding, sharp. Elias moved to the window. In the yard, Samuel stood over a young man. The broken harness lay in the dirt. Workers had stopped. Amara stood among them. Samuel raised his hand. Elias's jaw tightened. The sun climbed higher. Heat pressed against the yard. Bodies stood still. Samuel's hand remained raised. The young man knelt in the dirt. His name was Joseph. Elias knew him. Quiet, obedient, clumsy with tools but willing. "You cost me time," Samuel said. "Time costs money." "It slipped," Joseph said. "I didn't mean—" "Stand up." Joseph stood. His shoulders shook. Samuel circled him. The crowd watched in silence. Elias felt his stomach turn. He stepped off the porch. His boots struck packed earth. Samuel glanced back. "Brother, come to observe." "What happened?" Elias asked. "Carelessness. The same rot that spreads when we allow it." Elias looked at Joseph. The young man's eyes were wet. His hands trembled at his sides. "It was an accident," Elias said. "Accidents require correction." Something moved at the edge of his vision. Amara had stepped forward. Not far. Just enough to be seen. Her voice was low. "Please," she said, "don't do that." The words landed soft, almost swallowed by wind. But Elias heard them. Samuel heard them too. "What did you say?" Samuel asked. Amara said nothing. Her gaze remained fixed ahead. Not on Samuel. On Elias. His chest tightened. The crowd waited. Samuel waited. The moment stretched. Elias felt shame crawl through him. He knew what was expected. He knew what he should do. He had been taught. "Let it go," Elias said. "He'll repair the damage himself." Samuel's face darkened. "You weaken us." "Enough, Samuel." Elias turned away. He did not look at Amara. He did not look at anyone. His legs carried him back towards the house. Behind him, Samuel dismissed the crowd. His voice was cold, controlled. But the words followed Elias through the door, into the silence of his study. "Please, don't do that." Her voice stayed. Night fell heavy over Harrow Land. Elias sat in his study. The candle burned low. Papers waited untouched. He could not stop hearing her voice. 4 words, spoken without permission, without fear, or perhaps with fear, buried beneath something stronger. He rose, he paced. The floorboards groaned beneath his weight. Samuel had retreated to his own quarters after supper. They had not spoken. The silence between them was familiar. It had grown louder over years. Elias moved to the window. The moon hung full over dark fields. Somewhere out there, workers slept in cramped quarters, lives stacked together, bodies owned. He had not thought of it that way before, not directly. His father had built this, his grandfather before him. Elias had inherited not just land. He had inherited a system, and he had obeyed it. In the small cabin behind the kitchen, light flickered. Amara's quarters. She would be awake still, washing, mending, preparing for morning. Elias felt confusion. He did not understand why her words had struck him. Others had begged before. Others had wept. He had learned to look past it. But she had not begged. She had simply asked, as if she expected something from him, as if she believed he could be different. His breath caught. He turned from the window. The candle sputtered. He let it die. In darkness, he lay on his bed. Sleep did not come. Her face returned. Her stillness, her gaze. Please, don't do that. He had not done it, but he had done nothing else either. Elias felt lost. The ceiling offered no answers. Dawn was hours away. Morning arrived gray. Elias rose before light filled the windows. His eyes burned from lack of sleep. He dressed quickly. His hands moved through buttons and laces without thought. His mind was elsewhere. He found himself walking toward the kitchen before he had decided to go. The air smelled of bread and smoke. Clara stood at the hearth. She looked up as he entered. "Mr. Harrow," she said, "breakfast isn't ready yet." "I'm not here for breakfast." Clara's expression shifted. Wariness entered her eyes. "Is Amara here?" Elias asked. "She's fetching water, sir." "When she returns, send her to me. The back porch." Clara hesitated. "Sir, that's all." He walked out before she could speak. The back porch faced east. The sky was pale. Birds called across the fields. Minutes passed. Elias waited. His jaw tightened. Footsteps approached. Amara rounded the corner. Her eyes found his. She stopped. "You wanted to see me," she said. Her voice was flat. "Yes." She waited. She did not approach. Her hands hung at her sides. "Yesterday," Elias said. "In the yard." "I remember." "Why did you speak?" Her chin lifted. "Because I could." Elias felt anger rise. Then it faded. She was not afraid of him. Or she was. And she had chosen defiance anyway. "You could have been punished," he said. "I know." Samuel wanted. "I know what he wanted." The silence stretched between them. Elias did not know what he had expected. Gratitude, perhaps explanation. She offered neither. "Go," he said finally. "Back to work." Amara turned. She walked away without hurry, without submission. Clara appeared at the kitchen door. Her face was drawn with worry. She watched Amara pass, then looked at Elias. He said nothing. He walked back inside. Shame followed him like shadow. Sunday arrived with clear skies. The church stood white against green hills. Elias rode in silence beside Samuel. Their horses kept pace. "You've been quiet," Samuel said. "Nothing to say." "That's new." Elias did not answer. The church grew closer. Other families approached from neighboring roads. The Whitbys, the Crawfords, names he had known since childhood. Inside, the pews filled. Elias took his place near the front. Samuel sat beside him. The Reverend stood at the pulpit. Reverend Thomas Hale was an older man. Gray-haired, steady-voiced. He had baptized Elias as an infant. He had buried Elias's father. Today his sermon was different. "Scripture speaks of mercy," Hale said, "but mercy without action is empty." Elias felt his attention sharpen. "We claim righteousness," Hale said. "We build churches. We recite prayers. But do we live them?" Across the aisle, Amara sat, with other workers in the back rows. Her head was bowed. Her hands were folded. Elias found himself watching her instead of the pulpit. "True righteousness requires sacrifice," Hale said. "It demands we see the image of God in every face." Something shifted in Elias's expression. His throat tightened. Eleanor Whitby sat 3 rows ahead. She turned slightly. Her gaze landed on Elias. Then it moved to where he had been looking. Her mouth pressed thin. After service, she approached him in the churchyard. "Elias," she said, "you seemed distracted today." "Just tired," he said. "I hope that's all." Her voice was careful. Her meaning was clear. Elias walked to his horse. Samuel was already mounted. "Ready?" Samuel asked. "Yes." They rode home in silence. Elias felt eyes on his back the whole way. His certainty had cracked. 3 days passed. The rhythm of work continued, but something had changed. Elias gave fewer orders. He watched more. He questioned decisions he had made without thought before. Samuel noticed. "You're letting them rest too long," Samuel said at supper. "They work hard enough." "Hard enough isn't enough. Father understood that." Elias set down his fork. "Father was not always right." Samuel's face hardened. "What has gotten into you?" "Nothing." "Don't lie to me, brother. I see you watching her." Elias's chest tightened. "Watching who?" "Don't play fool. The one who spoke in the yard." "I don't know what you mean." Samuel leaned forward. His voice was sharp. "She's property, Elias. Nothing more. If you forget that, you endanger everything." Elias rose from the table. He did not trust himself to respond. He walked out into the evening air. The sky was dark blue. Stars emerged above the tree line. He walked without direction. Near the back of the main house, light glowed through a window. Elias heard a voice, soft, steady, singing. He moved closer. Through the glass, he saw Amara. She was on her knees, scrubbing the floor. Her lips moved with the hymn. The melody carried sorrow. It carried something else, too. Defiance, perhaps. Or hope. Elias stood frozen. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the small room. She did not see him watching. She did not stop. He remained until the song ended. His heart felt strange. The following evening, Elias walked the fields. The sun sank low. Orange light spread across the land. Workers moved toward their quarters. The day's labor was finished. Elias walked alone. Near the edge of the property, he heard voices. Children's voices. And one other. He approached carefully. Behind a row of tobacco plants, Amara sat on the ground. 5 children circled her. Their ages ranged from 6 to 12. Amara was teaching them a song. The same hymn he had heard before. Her voice was low. The children repeated each line. "Remember," Amara said, "these words belong to you." "What do they mean?" one child asked. "They mean you are seen by something greater than all this." Elias's breath caught. He stepped on a dry branch. It cracked. Amara's head turned. Her eyes found his. The children fell silent. Fear crossed their faces. They knew what happened when owners found gatherings. Amara rose slowly. She did not run. She did not apologize. "Mr. Harrow," she said, "what are you doing?" "Teaching them to remember." "Remember what?" "Who they are." The words hung between them. The sun continued to sink. The children waited. Amara waited. Elias felt something shift inside him, something old, something crumbling. He could stop this. He could punish her. He could do what was expected. Instead, he turned away. "Finish before dark," he said. He walked back toward the house. Behind him, the hymn resumed. The next evening, Elias stood at his window. He watched the same spot near the fields. Amara appeared. The children followed. She began the hymn again. Their voices rose together. Elias did not move. He did not stop them. Samuel appeared at his door. "Brother, we need to discuss the harvest schedule." "Not now." Samuel stepped closer. His eyes narrowed. He looked past Elias toward the window. "What are you watching?" "Nothing." But Samuel had seen. His jaw tightened. Something shifted in his expression. "You're protecting her," Samuel said. "I'm doing nothing." "Exactly. And that is something." Elias turned to face him. "Leave it alone, Samuel." "I will not. She gathers them. She teaches them. This is how rebellions start. It's a hymn. Today it's a hymn. Tomorrow it's something else." Elias felt anger rise. "What would you have me do?" "What any man in your position should do. End it." The brothers stared at each other. Years of tension filled the space between them. Elias spoke slowly. "I will handle my property as I see fit." Samuel's face twisted. "Property. Is that still what she is to you?" He left without waiting for an answer. Elias stood alone. Outside, the hymn continued. Amara's voice carried across the evening air. He had made no grand declaration. He had given no speech. But he had stepped beyond silent authority. And Samuel had seen. Everything would change now. 2 weeks passed. The tobacco grew tall. The days grew longer. Something had shifted on Harrow land. Elias walked the property each morning now. He inspected fences. He checked water supplies. He spoke less to Samuel. He watched more. "You're becoming a ghost," Samuel said one evening. "Present but absent. I have responsibilities. You have distractions." Elias did not answer. He finished his supper in silence. Samuel's eyes followed him when he rose. In the fields, workers moved differently now. They still labored. They still obeyed. But something had changed in how they looked at Elias. Wariness had replaced fear. Amara avoided him. She completed her duties without error. She spoke only when spoken to, but she no longer met his gaze. Elias felt confusion. He had expected gratitude, or at least acknowledgement. Instead, she had withdrawn further. "She doesn't trust you," Clara said one morning. Elias had come to the kitchen for coffee. Clara stood at the stove. Her back was turned. "I didn't ask," Elias said. "You didn't have to. It's written on your face. Watch your tongue." Clara turned. Her eyes held something new, not defiance, understanding. "She's seen men change before," Clara said. "It never lasts." Elias set down his cup. "I'm not changing." "Then what are you doing?" He had no answer. He walked out into the morning light. Amara crossed the yard ahead. She carried linens toward the drying lines. Her steps were steady. Her face was blank. Elias watched her disappear around the corner. His chest felt hollow. 3 days later, Elias found himself at the well. It was midday. The sun was high. Most workers rested in shade. He had not planned to come here. His feet had carried him without thought. Amara appeared on the path. She stopped when she saw him. Her hands gripped an empty bucket. "Mr. Harrow," she said. "I need water," he said. The lie was obvious. She approached the well. She lowered the bucket. The rope creaked against stone. "You've been avoiding me," Elias said. "I've been working." "That's not what I mean." Amara pulled the bucket up. Water splashed against the stones. She did not look at him. "What do you want from me?" she asked. Elias felt frustration rise. "I want to understand." "Understand what?" "Why you spoke that day, in the yard." Her hands stilled. Something shifted in her expression. She finally met his eyes. "Because someone had to. It could have been anyone." "No, it couldn't." The silence hung between them. Elias felt his throat tighten. "I didn't punish you," he said. "Is that supposed to comfort me?" You thought mercy would make me grateful." Her voice was steady. "It doesn't. Mercy from a master is still control." Elias's breath caught. Her words struck something deep. "Then what would?" he asked. Amara lifted the bucket. "Ask yourself what you're willing to lose." She walked away. Her footsteps faded on packed earth. Elias stood alone at the well. The sun beat down. His certainty crumbled further. What was he willing to lose? Sunday arrived again. Elias rode to church alone. Samuel had left earlier with business in town. After service, Eleanor Whitby approached. Her dress was fine, her smile was careful. "Elias, walk with me." They moved along the church path. Other families passed. Polite nods were exchanged. "There are rumors," Eleanor said. "There are always rumors. These are different. They concern your household." Elias felt his jaw tighten. "What kind of rumors?" "That you've grown soft, that you allow gatherings, songs, teachings." Eleanor stopped walking. Her eyes searched his face. "That you've developed an interest in one of your workers." "People talk too much." "People protect what they have, Elias. This system works because we maintain it together." "And if the system is wrong?" Eleanor's face hardened. "Don't speak foolishness. Your father built everything you have." "My father is dead." "His legacy isn't. Neither is your responsibility to it." Elias looked past her. Across the churchyard, Amara waited with other workers near the wagons. Her head was bowed. Her hands were folded. "I know what I'm doing," Elias said. "Do you?" Eleanor stepped closer. Her voice dropped. "I've seen how you look at her. Everyone has." Elias felt heat rise to his face. "Be careful," Eleanor said. "You're not the only one who could suffer." She walked away. Her warning hung in the air. Elias mounted his horse. The ride home felt longer than before. His isolation had begun. The confrontation came 3 nights later. Samuel arrived at supper with papers in his hand. "I've arranged a sale," Samuel said. Elias looked up from his plate. "A sale of what?" "The woman, Amara. The Crawfords are interested." Elias felt cold spread through his chest. "I didn't authorize that." "You don't need to. As overseer, I have authority over disciplinary transfers." "She hasn't broken any rules." "She's broken the most important one. She's made you weak." Elias rose from his chair. His hands gripped the table edge. "You will not sell her." Samuel's eyes narrowed. "This isn't about her. It's about us. About this family." "There is no family. There's only you trying to control what you cannot understand." "What I understand is that you're destroying everything." Samuel slammed the papers down. "Father gave me authority for exactly this reason." Father is dead, and you're killing what he built." The brothers faced each other. Years of resentment surfaced. The dining room felt small. "If you proceed with this," Elias said slowly, "I will remove you from this property." Samuel's face twisted. "You wouldn't dare." "Try me." The silence stretched. Samuel's jaw tightened. His hands shook at his sides. "This isn't over," Samuel said. He left the room. The door slammed behind him. Elias stood alone. His heart pounded. His hands trembled. He had drawn a line. There was no crossing back. Night fell soft over Harrow land. Elias walked the grounds. His conversation with Samuel still burned. Near the workers' quarters, light flickered. Voices rose and fell. He moved closer. Through a gap in the wooden slats, he saw them. Amara sat in the center. Children and adults surrounded her. Clara stood near the door, watching. Amara was teaching again, but not just hymns now. She spoke of stories, of ancestors, of places across the water. "They want us to forget," Amara said. "That's how they keep us." "What do we do?" a young voice asked. "We remember, and we teach the ones who come after." Elias felt his throat tighten. He had never heard her speak this way, with such clarity, such purpose. He pushed open the door. The room went silent. Bodies stiffened. Eyes widened. Amara rose slowly. Her face was calm. "Mr. Harrow." "What is this?" Elias asked. "You already know." "Why do you continue? You know the risk." Amara's eyes found his. "Why do you let me?" The question stopped him. Around the room, faces watched, waiting. "I don't know," Elias said. The honesty surprised him. "Then find out." She turned back to the gathered group. She resumed her teaching. Her voice was steady. Elias stood frozen in the doorway. Clara watched him carefully. He left without another word. But her question followed him home. The next morning, Amara came to him. She stood in the doorway of his study. Her expression was unreadable. "You wanted answers," she said. "I'll give you one." Elias set down his pen. "Speak." "You think kindness makes you different. It doesn't." "I've protected you." "You've protected yourself. There's a difference." Elias felt anger rise. "I've risked everything." "You've risked nothing." Amara stepped closer. Her voice was low but fierce. "You still own this land. You still own me. Your mercy costs you nothing." "That's not true." "Isn't it?" Her eyes burned. "When you soften cruelty, you still keep its foundation intact. You make yourself feel better while everything stays the same." Elias's breath caught. Her words struck deep. "What would you have me do?" he asked. "I would have you decide. Are you the master who shows mercy, or something else entirely? What else is there?" "A man willing to tear down what his fathers built." The silence hung heavy. Elias felt something crack inside him. His image of himself. His understanding of his own goodness. He had believed himself different. Better. But she was right. He had changed nothing. He had only made the chains more comfortable. "I don't know how," he said quietly. Amara's expression softened. "Just slightly." "Then learn." She left him alone with his shattered certainty. This was the breaking point. Days passed in strange quiet. Elias began researching. He read legal documents. He studied manumission laws. He calculated costs. Freedom could be granted. It required paperwork, witnesses, money. He could do it. He could free Amara. He could free others. One evening he found her near the garden. The sun was setting. Her hands were dirty from work. "I found a way," Elias said. Amara looked up. Her expression was guarded. "I can grant your freedom. Legally, quietly. You could leave this place." Something shifted in her face. Not joy. Something colder. "Quietly," she said. Yes. No one would need to know. You could start fresh. And the others? Elias hesitated. In time. One by one. It has to be careful. Amara stood. Her hands hung at her sides. You want to free me in secret, while everything else remains. It's the only safe way. Safe for whom? Elias felt frustration rise. I'm trying to help you. You're trying to own my freedom. Her voice was steady. You want to give it to me. Control when and how? Keep your hands clean. That's not, if I accept this, I stay silent. I disappear. And nothing changes here. Elias's jaw tightened. What else can I do? You know the answer. She walked away. Her rejection hung in the air. Elias stood alone in the fading light. He had offered her everything he thought she wanted. It wasn't enough. The rumors reached town by week's end. Samuel had talked. Elias was certain of it. At the general store, men fell silent when he entered. At the tavern, conversations stopped. Eyes followed him everywhere. They say you've gone soft, the blacksmith said. They say worse things too. Elias paid for his supplies. He said nothing. At home, Amara had withdrawn completely. She performed her duties. She spoke to no one. Clara reported that she spent nights alone now. No more gatherings. No more songs. She's protecting them, Clara said. If something happens to you, they'll suffer first. Elias felt guilt tighten his chest. He had tried to help. He had made everything worse. Samuel appeared at dinner. His smile was cruel. The town is talking, Samuel said. They're concerned about your judgment, your stability. Let them talk. They're doing more than talking. Crawford is calling a meeting to discuss your fitness to manage this property. Elias's stomach dropped. He has no authority. He has influence, and you've lost yours. Samuel leaned back. His satisfaction was visible. You brought this on yourself, brother, all for a woman who won't even look at you. Elias rose from the table. His appetite was gone. His hope was fading. Outside, night had fallen. The moon was hidden behind clouds. Somewhere on the property, Amara sat alone. She had refused his help. She had refused his version of freedom, and now they would both pay. The meeting was held at Crawford's estate. 12 men gathered in the parlor. Elias stood alone near the door. We've called you here out of concern, Crawford said. His voice was smooth. His eyes were cold. Concern for your welfare, and ours. I appreciate the sentiment, Elias said, but my affairs are my own. Are they? Samuel stood near the fireplace. He had positioned himself among them. When your decisions affect all of us? Murmurs rippled through the room. Elias felt their stares. Judgment wrapped in politeness. There are rumors, Crawford said, about gatherings on your property, about leniency that borders on recklessness. Rumors are not facts. Then explain yourself. Elias's jaw tightened. He looked at the faces before him. Men he had known his whole life, men his father had called friends. I've done nothing wrong, Elias said. You've done nothing at all, Samuel said. That's the problem. Reverend Hale sat in the corner. He had not spoken. His eyes moved between the brothers. His expression was troubled. The system requires unity, Crawford said. One weak link endangers everyone. I am not weak. Then prove it. Sell the woman. Restore order. Show us you remember who you are. Elias felt heat rise in his chest. His hands curled into fists. And if I refuse? The room went quiet. Crawford exchanged glances with Samuel. Then we'll have to consider other options, Crawford said. Legal options. Elias looked at Reverend Hale. The old man's gaze dropped. He offered no defense. This meeting is finished, Elias said. He walked out into the evening air. His heart pounded. His isolation was complete. Behind him, voices rose, planning, plotting. The walls were closing in. 3 days later, Samuel returned with documents. His smile was triumphant. "The county magistrate has agreed," Samuel said. "Given your instability, I've been granted temporary authority over property transfers." Elias felt cold spread through him. "You had no right." "I had every right. Father's will named me executor in cases of incapacity. I am not incapacitated. Crawford and 5 others have testified otherwise." Samuel set the papers on the desk. "The sale is scheduled for next week. The woman goes to the Henderson plantation." Elias's breath caught. Henderson was known for brutality. Stories circulated. Workers sent there rarely survived long. "I won't allow this," Elias said. "You have no choice." Samuel's voice was hard. "Unless you want to fight it in court, that could take months. By then she'll be gone." Elias rose from his chair. His body trembled with rage. "Why?" he asked. "Why do you hate her so much?" "I don't hate her. I hate what she's done to you." Samuel's expression shifted. Something almost sad crossed his face. "You were strong once, certain. Now look at you." "I was blind. There's a difference." "There's no difference that matters." Samuel left. The documents remained on the desk. Elias stared at them. 1 week. That was all the time he had. That night, Clara found him in the study. Her face was drawn. "She knows," Clara said. "Amara knows about the sale." "Where is she?" "Packing what little she has. She plans to run." Elias felt his chest tighten. "Tell her to wait," he said. "Tell her I have a plan." Clara hesitated. "Do you?" He didn't answer. She left. The candle burned low. Elias sat in darkness. He needed a plan. Midnight. The moon hung low. Elias walked toward the workers' quarters. He found Amara behind her cabin. A small bundle sat at her feet. She was ready to disappear. "Don't run," Elias said. Amara turned. Her eyes were fierce. "You can't stop me." "I'm not trying to stop you. I'm trying to help. Your help has only made things worse." Elias stepped closer. His voice was low. "I know. I know I've failed you." Amara's expression flickered. Surprise, perhaps, or doubt. "Then why are you here?" she asked. "Because I finally understand." Elias's hands hung at his sides. "I don't want to own your freedom. I never should have tried." "Words are easy." "Then let me show you." His voice was rough. "I'm going to stop this sale, but not by hiding you, not by making deals in shadows." "How?" "By destroying what they value most, my compliance." Amara studied him. The silence stretched between them. Wind rustled through nearby trees. "You would lose everything," she said. "I've already lost everything that mattered." Something shifted in her expression. Not trust, not yet. But the wall had cracked. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you do this?" Elias felt his breath catch. The truth rose before he could stop it. "Because you showed me who I could be, and I can't go back." Amara said nothing. Her eyes searched his face, looking for the lie. She didn't find it. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we fight." The moon emerged from clouds. Light fell across them both. Everything trembled on the edge. The exposure came 2 days later. Samuel had waited. He had gathered witnesses. At the town square, a crowd assembled. Crawford stood on the courthouse steps, Samuel beside him. "Citizens of this county," Crawford called, "we have disturbing news." Elias arrived late. He pushed through the crowd. Amara was nowhere in sight. "Elias Harrow has been discovered pursuing illegal manumission," Crawford said. "Not for one worker, for many." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Faces turned toward Elias. Shock, anger, fear. He plans to dismantle the very system that sustains us, Samuel said. Our economy, our security, our way of life. That's not true, Elias called. We have documents, Crawford said. Letters to lawyers in Philadelphia, inquiries about mass freedom petitions. Elias felt the ground shift beneath him, his private research. Samuel had found it. This is treason, someone shouted. This is betrayal, another called. The crowd surged. Hands grabbed at Elias. He stumbled backward. Order, Reverend Hale's voice cut through. He had appeared on the steps. There will be no violence in this square. The crowd hesitated. Hale stood between them and Elias. This matter will be settled legally, Hale said, not through mob justice. Crawford's face darkened. Then we settle it at assembly, tomorrow. The crowd dispersed slowly. Threats hung in the air. Elias stood alone. Hale approached him. His voice was quiet. What have you done, son? What should have been done long ago. Hale's eyes were sad. They will destroy you. Perhaps, Elias said, but they won't destroy her. He walked home through hostile streets. Tomorrow would decide everything. The night before the assembly, Elias sat in his study. Papers surrounded him. Deeds, titles, the architecture of inheritance. He had a choice. Fight the charges. Deny everything. Perhaps survive. Or end it completely. Clara appeared at the door. She wants to see you. Elias rose. He followed Clara to the kitchen. Amara stood by the window. Moonlight touched her face. I heard what happened, Amara said. News travels fast. What will you do? Elias felt weariness settle in his bones. What I should have done from the beginning. Which is? Give it up. All of it. The land, the title, the authority. Amara's breath caught. Her eyes widened. You can't. I can. It's the only way to protect you. To protect all of them. They'll take everything. Let them. Elias moved closer. His voice was steady. This land was built on suffering. Every acre, every harvest. I can't undo what my fathers did, but I can refuse to continue it. Amara's eyes glistened. Something broke in her expression. The wall fell completely. You would become nothing, she said. I would become free. The word hung between them, heavy with meaning. Amara reached out. Her fingers touched his hand. Just briefly. Just once. I never believed you could change, she said. Neither did I. The silence held them. Two people on the edge of everything. Tomorrow, Elias said. Whatever happens, know that I chose this. Amara nodded. She withdrew her hand. Elias returned to his study. He gathered the papers he would need. Sleep did not come. But peace did. The assembly hall was packed. Every seat was filled. People stood along the walls. Elias entered alone. The crowd parted. Whispers followed him to the front. Crawford sat at the head table. Samuel beside him. Other landowners filled the row. Reverend Hale sat apart. His expression was unreadable. Elias Harrow, Crawford said, you stand accused of plotting against the welfare of this community. I understand the charges, Elias said. Do you deny them? Elias looked at the faces before him. Fear masked as righteousness. Greed dressed as duty. No, Elias said. I do not deny them. Murmurs erupted. Crawford raised his hand for silence. Then you admit your guilt? I admit that I sought to free people who should never have been enslaved. Elias's voice was clear. I admit that I questioned a system built on cruelty. I admit that I chose conscience over comfort. Samuel rose. He's mad. He should be committed. I am not mad. Elias reached into his coat. He pulled out folded papers. I am finished. He placed the documents on the table, deeds, titles, everything. I renounce my claim to Harrow land, Elias said. I renounce my inheritance. I renounce my participation in this system. The room went silent. Complete. Absolute. You can't do this, Crawford said. I just did. Reverend Hale rose. His voice cut through the shock. The man has surrendered his property voluntarily. There is nothing illegal in that. This is unprecedented, Crawford said. This is courage. Hale moved to stand beside Elias. Something we have all lacked for too long. The assembly erupted. Shouts, arguments, chaos. Then the door opened. Amara walked in. The crowd fell silent. Every eye turned toward her. Amara walked through the assembly. Her head was high. Her steps were steady. She wore the same simple dress. But something had changed. She carried herself differently now. Who let her in? Crawford demanded. I let myself in, Amara said. Her voice filled the room. I have something to say. You have no right to speak here. I have every right. She stopped at the front. She faced the assembly. You have debated our fate for generations. Without us, without our voices. That ends now. Samuel lunged forward. Remove her. Touch her and I'll testify against you, Reverend Hale said. All of you. Samuel froze. The threat hung in the air. Amara spoke into the silence. You call us property. You write laws that deny our humanity. But we are not property. We are people. Her voice was steady. Her eyes moved across the crowd. Elias Harrow saw that truth. It cost him everything. What will it cost you to see it too? No one answered. Faces were pale. Hands trembled. I don't ask for your mercy, Amara said. Mercy can be revoked. I ask for recognition of what we are, of what we have always been. The silence stretched. Then someone moved. A woman in the back stood, then another, then a man near the door. Not many, but some. Crawford's face was dark with fury, but he was outnumbered now. The tide had shifted. This assembly is adjourned, Hale said. There will be no sale, no charges. This matter is closed. Amara turned. She walked back through the crowd. Elias followed her into the light. 6 months later. Autumn had painted the hills gold and red. Elias lived in a small cabin now, beyond the county lines, beyond the reach of those who hated him. He worked with his hands, he planted, he built, he survived. The settlement was small, 12 families. Some had escaped bondage. Others had never known it. They lived together, worked together, equals in struggle. Amara had come 3 months prior. She worked with the others, teaching, organizing, building something new. They had not spoken of what passed between them, not directly. The wounds were still healing. But today she came to his door. Walk with me, she said. They followed a path through golden trees. Leaves crunched beneath their feet. The air was crisp. I never thanked you, Amara said. You don't need to. I know, but I want to. She stopped walking. Her eyes found his. You gave up everything. I gained more than I lost. Amara studied his face. Something shifted in her expression. Warmth, perhaps, or something deeper. What happens now? She asked. Whatever we choose. She nodded slowly. Her hand reached out, fingers intertwined with his, gently, carefully, not as property and owner, not as savior and saved, as equals, as two people choosing each other freely. They walked forward together, into the golden light, into uncertain futures. The past could not be undone, but the future was theirs to write, and they would write it together.